SpectrumTv, broadening your horizon.
Hello, viewer, and welcome to Worldview, a program designed to bring you up to speed. My name is Xavier Roberts, reaching you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa. And on our top stories today, at least 100 people died and 150 others injured after fire outbreak during a wedding in Iraq's biggest Christian town. Russia's defense ministry released video showing Black Sea Fleet's commander Viktor Sokolov at conference despite Ukraine claiming to have killed him. India's foreign minister says country open to looking into any specific information Canada provides on killing of Sikh separatist leader. Details of these stories and more are just ahead. Russia's defense ministry has released a video showing the Black Sea Fleet's commander Viktor Sokolov at a conference despite Ukraine claiming to have killed him. It's not clear when the footage where Sokolov appears on a video link with the defense minister was filmed. Ukraine's special forces said on Monday 8 p.m. Sokolov and 33 other officers died in a missile strike on the fleet's headquarters in Sevastopol, occupied Crimea. They did not name the admiral directly, nor did they offer any evidence that he had died. They now say they are clarifying the reports. Now, a New York judge has ruled that Donald Trump repeatedly misrepresented his wealth by up to $3.6 billion to banks and insurers. The decision resolves a key claim made by New York's Attorney General in her civil lawsuit against the former president. She wrote that the documents clearly contain fraudulent valuations that defendants used in business. The reports say Attorney General Letitia James sued Trump last September, accusing him, his two adult sons, and the Trump Organization of lying about his net worth and asset values between 2011 and 2021. Moving on now, Germany has banned the far-right sect Art Gemeinschaft for spreading Nazi ideology to children and young people. The country's interior minister called the group deeply racist and anti-Semitic and said it was trying to raise new enemies of the constitution. Reports say Art Gemeinschaft used Nazi-era literature and cultural events to spread its ideology. Police have raided dozens of homes and offices linked to the group in 12 German states. The German Interior Minister Nancy Faeser said that it is another hard blow against right-wing extremists and extremism and against the intellectual arsonists who continue to spread Nazi ideologies to this day. Away from that, U.S. soldier Travis King, who fled to North Korea in July, is in American custody after being expelled by Pyongyang, according to officials. Now, the U.S. media reports that King was transferred into U.S. custody in China. The 23-year-old reconnaissance specialist legally crossed into North Korea in July. The North Korean media said he had fled because of inhumane treatment and racism within the U.S. military. His condition and the details of his confinement in North Korea remain unclear. Earlier on Wednesday, North Korea's state-run news agency said the country had decided to remove King without offering further details. King has been in the army since January 2021 and was in South Korea as part of a unit's rotation. Before entering North Korea, he had served 2 months in detentions in South Korea on charges that he assaulted 2 people and kicked a police car. He was released from custody on 10th July. He had been due to return to the U.S. for disciplinary proceedings, but managed to leave the airport and join a guided tour of the border village of Panmunjom on the heavily guarded demilitarized zone (DMZ) between the two countries. King crossed into North Korea while on tour. It is unclear whether he could face additional charges over his decision to enter North Korea. Moving on now to other issues, China has reported that after over 3 years of COVID-induced isolation, North Korea will allow foreign nationals to enter the country. Reports say that North Korea has been largely closed off from the outside world since early 2020, when it shut its borders in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, with even its own nationals prevented from entering. But it is this month showing signs of reopening, with leader Kim Jong-un traveling to Russia to meet with President Vladimir Putin and sending athletes to compete in the Asian Games in China's eastern city of Hangzhou. The report added that they will be subject to a 2-day quarantine upon arrival. Away from that, China has said it had not received official notice from Pyongyang that North Korea was opening its borders to foreigners. Recall that North Korea reported that it would allow foreign nationals to enter after more than 3 years of isolation because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the foreign ministry in Beijing said it had not heard from Pyongyang about such a decision. Away from that, on a tragic note, at least 100 people have died and 150 others are injured after a fire broke out during a wedding in Iraq's biggest Christian town. Hundreds were celebrating in a banqueting hall in Qarakosh in Nineveh province when it happened. It is not known what started the fire, but some reports suggest fireworks set it off. Flammable panels filled the flames and causing parts of the ceiling to catch fire and fall. According to fire officials, it was not immediately clear if the bride and the groom were among the victims, but footage posted online showed the couple on the dance floor before flaming chunks began falling onto the dance floor. Firefighters could be seen climbing over the wreckage of the building in search of survivors on Wednesday morning. Azerbaijan has arrested a former leader of Nagorno-Karabakh as he tried to leave the enclave for Armenia. According to officials, now Ruben Vardanyan, a businessman who headed the separatist government from November 2022 until February, was among thousands trying to leave. In all, 47,115 ethnic Armenians have now fled Nagorno-Karabakh, which was seized by Azerbaijan last week. Vardanyan's wife appealed for support to ensure his safe release. Azerbaijan's border service said he had been taken to the capital, Baku, and handed over to other state agencies as they crossed the border on Tuesday. Thousands of ethnic Armenians were subject to rigorous checks from Azerbaijani border control. And Azerbaijani authorities claim to be looking for war crime suspects, and one government source told media that the country intended to apply an amnesty to Armenian fighters who laid down their arms in Karabakh. In a separate development, India's foreign minister said the country is open to looking into any specific information Canada provides on the killing of a Sikh separatist leader. Jaishankar was referring to the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada in June. The tensions flared up after Canada recently said it was investigating credible allegations linking the Indian state with the murder. India dismissed the claim as absurd. Jaishankar said that the Indian government had told Canada that it was open to investigating any relevant allegations about the murder, while insisting that Delhi had no role in it. He was speaking at an event in New York ahead of his address at the UN General Assembly. Hardeep Singh Nijjar was shot dead outside a temple in British Columbia in June. He had been designated a terrorist by India in 2020, an allegation his supporters vehemently deny. The Indian government has often reacted sharply to demands by Sikh separatists in Western countries for Khalistan or a separate Sikh homeland. The Khalistan movement peaked in India in the 1980s with a violent insurgency centered in Sikh-majority Punjab state. It was quelled by force and has little resonance in India now, but is still popular among some in the Sikh diaspora in countries such as Canada, Australia and the UK. Meanwhile, Muslim advocates in Canada have expressed anger and concern at allegations that India may have been involved in the killing of a Canadian Sikh leader, stressing that Muslim and Sikh Canadians have long supported each other. Last week, a diplomatic dispute escalated between Ottawa and New Delhi after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said his government was investigating credible allegations of a potential link between Indian government agents and the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The row has led many Muslim activists in Canada to call for more protections for minorities, with some urging a tougher stance against India, which has been accused of discriminating against Muslims under the leadership of right-wing Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Nijjar, a prominent Sikh leader who had called for an independent Sikh state in India, was fatally shot outside a Sikh temple in the province of British Columbia in June. Moving on now, former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has been transferred to a jail near capital Islamabad after a court extended his custody by 2 weeks in a state secrets case related to his 2022 removal. Khan, aged 70, was moved to Adiala jail in Rawalpindi city on Tuesday night after having spent more than 3 weeks in Attock jail, some 100 kilometers away, where he was sent following his conviction in a corruption case last month. Videos on social media showed Khan supporters flanking the road and throwing flower petals as a large police convoy took him to Rawalpindi, though the Islamabad High Court in August overturned his conviction. Khan remains in custody as authorities investigate the leaking of a secret diplomatic cable called Cipher, which he claims proves his allegation that the United States was behind his removal from power. The US and Pakistani authorities reject the charge. After the break, US says it is halting its aid to Gabon following last month's coup. We'll stay with us for details on this and more right after the break. Many thanks for staying tuned. We move on now. The U.S. says it is halting its aid to Gabon following last month's coup. In a statement, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the United States is pursuing certain foreign assistance programs that benefit the government of Gabon. It said the temporary measure was in line with actions taken by the regional Central African Bloc, the African Union (AU), and other global partners following the coup. Recall that Gabon's membership of the Economic Community of Central African States, ECOWAS, and the AU were suspended following the coup. Blinken, however, noted that operational activities in the country were continuing, including diplomatic and consular operations to support U.S. citizens. In the meantime, leaders in the United States Senate have agreed to a stopgap measure designed to prevent an imminent government shutdown over budget legislation. The deal, hashed out between Republicans and Democrats, would keep the government open for 6 additional weeks. It would also earmark approximately $6 billion in short-term funding for Ukraine as it fends off a Russian invasion. But should the deal pass the full Senate, it will likely face significant hurdles in the House of Representatives, where far-right Republicans have promised to shoot it down if it reaches the floor. Seeming to anticipate criticisms from the hardline flank of his party, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell defended the short-term solution in a speech on Tuesday. Away from that, the South African authorities are intensifying biosecurity measures to control a severe avian influenza outbreak that has so far killed 2.6 million chickens across the country. The Department of Agriculture said in a statement that 5 of the country's 9 provinces have been affected by the 50 H5H7 and 10 H5H5 subtypes of the virus. It added that the process of getting a vaccine had been fast-tracked because of the inherent risk of the disease spreading to humans. The department added that due to the high probability of avian influenza virus mutating and becoming zoonotic, care needs to be taken on the quality and efficacy parameters of the vaccine chosen for use in the exercise. Now, at least 11 people have been killed after heavy rain and winds hit South Africa's Western Cape province, including Cape Town, over the weekend, leaving a trail of destruction. Authorities warn that the death toll may rise as the flood water subsides. The destructive weather, flood